Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the inventor of the CTKS method and BORSOG trading. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back KS family. Please note I don't have WhatsApp or Telegram. In the past trading session, the main markets came up. We heard that Tesla held on to its Bitcoin and GDP was strong. The actual was 2.9%, the forecast was 2.6%. The labour market remained strong. 203,000 were expected to file for unemployment claims, only 186,000 did. New home sales were stronger than expected. Tesla's earnings per share beat market estimates by 7.28%. With these background stats in mind, let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently down 1.68% to 23,029. Ethereum is down 0.97% to 1604. We know that from Rule 225, Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. In the past trading session, we saw the fear gauge of the market, the VIX, still retreating, just coming down in this particular trend channel. That drove the markets upwards and onwards. They performed very well as the dollar slid down and as junk bonds started to re-emerge back into the market. We were talking about this yesterday, that the likelihood was that junk bonds, a very good risk-on indicator, were actually overcoming resistance. This is really, really good for markets. Unless if you're going short and it's really bad then. The next FOMC meeting is in about 6 days. And it looks to see, when we're looking at the yields, it looks like the yields could actually potentially break out of this downwards resistance. We'll keep our eye on it, but the potential is there. And we can also confirm that because when we look at bond support, it's failing. It's failing in multiple directions. And looking at gold, gold lost that very important 1940 level. Gold is not necessarily down for the count. It's still got a very strong uptrend, but it has been rejected from that 1940 level. The next area of smart money support is at 1912 and 60 cents. Yesterday, I said that we need to keep our eye on the DXY. And what we saw was the DXY actually rallying. It was on its way down. It was about like this. For example, when we did yesterday's video. And we can see, and I've spoken a lot about this, just because you're underneath a smart money buy level doesn't mean it's turned to a smart money sell level. Often these quite deep levels can get gravitationally aligned too when it comes to price action. For example, price can get gravitationally pulled back to that line and then to that line and come down to that line. We see it all the time. Yesterday, I pointed out this fact that we've been down here before and it's shot back up, and I just explained that you can ping between these smart money levels, these SLs or Stanfield levels. It's really important to know where they are in market structure. And you can find out for yourself by applying the CTKS method. We can see that in looking at the S&P 500 Spider ETF Trust, we're making our way up to quite steep resistance. These are smart money sell levels. Just because we get over one, you remember what happened with the DXY. It doesn't mean that we're cleared and everything is good because they become gravitationally aligned. I talk about gravity a lot inside the masterclass. The SPY is trading post at 403.54. Pre-market and post-market can be very, very chaotic times. Just because it is in post at 403.54 doesn't mean it's going to stay there. It actually closed out at 404.74. But to get a bit of resistance, or at least to go flat and sideways during this period of time, is absolutely on the cards. Even a dip down to 401.63 or 398.60 is definitely on the cards. We're looking at a lot of resistance up there. The sellers will be trying to push the markets down right now. I mentioned yesterday that if the DXY rallied, the euro would likely sell off, and that is exactly, precisely what happened. And one thing to bear in mind, when we hit a smart money buy level, it will likely gravitate towards the stronger sell level, and that's what we've also seen. That's why it's so important to know what these levels are. We can see Microsoft's entering a very strong selling area. Just bear this in mind. It may take a bit of time and a bit of effort to get through all of those sellers. Tesla's earnings were pretty good. They beat market estimates. So what did we see? A surge in price just below a smart money sell level at 162.43. And price is just trying to reach back to that smart money sell level. Tesla's done very, very well. Without these Stanfield levels, without the smart money levels, you'd just be looking at a chart like this and saying, where could it go to? The CTKS Method Standards Certification process will give you an insight into actual market structure. There are two ways that you can learn about the CTKS method. One is by going to ctksmethod.org and the other is through the Masterclass, LV26 and LV27, this one here. I just wanted to raise the point, the very kind point, that Jason Rice is going to be awarding a new partial Masterclass scholarship where you can learn about the CTKS method. The Masterclass is a premium Rolls-Royce level Masterclass on crypto technical analysis using the CTKS method. And this is a method of technical analysis invented specifically for the crypto market that accounts for exponential implosions and explosions in price and updates normal stock market and forex technical analysis. You can see how the CTKS method applies to everything. Within the next week or so, I'll be reaching out to an awardee of the Jason Rice CTKS Partial Masterclass Scholarship. Please keep your eyes on your emails, and you can also apply for the Partial Masterclass Scholarship in the link in the description. The CTKS method is based on all of price history, not recent price history. Even though on the surface things appear to be healing, they appear to be correcting, the actual breaking of resistance in the yields is cause for concern because we're currently noting an inverse relationship between the yields and the market indices, the major ones. Basically it goes like this: if yields go up, the markets go down. It's pretty simplistic, and that's what's playing out at the current time. And that doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever. These relationships phase in and phase out. But the market is already telling us that it expects the Fed to go a little bit harder in terms of rate hikes. You'll find that there are a series of plus for the market going up, and there is a series always of the market going down. You just have to balance out all these probabilities because you don't need certainty. You just need a strategy to profit from uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, there is risk, and risk is related to return. It's also important to know what we're accountable for. We each control the trade or investment, but it's the market that controls the returns. And the more you know, the more probabilities you can stack, and the clearer the market picture will look to you, and the more adroit and more flexible you'll be in actually reacting to market changes. The markets are always part psychological and part skill. It's not all skill and not all psychology. They're basically equally measured. That's why we need to get into synchronization with the market's movements, and doing your CTKS code, your daily three-dimensional risk management code, is very, very important. And I've given you a bit of a cheat sheet here on how to actually interpret this particular code. And well done to everybody who keeps on putting that in. You're actually saying to the market, I'm paying attention to you. I'm doing my work. And the market says, oh, I'm going to reward you. Because the market always rewards knowledge and it penalizes blame and gambling. According to Rule 45 from the Masterclass, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. This is why we look at the main markets first, because we want to understand what's the DXY doing, what's the yields doing. What are the major market indices doing? What are junk bonds? What kind of signal are they throwing off? What about gold and oil and inflation and so many things? We need to know this to look at the crypto market. And the most important thing that we can look at is Bitcoin's gravity. We knew that there was a very strong smart money sell level from around the 23,000 up towards the 23,200 mark. And indeed, the buyers broke through that level, but the sellers said, hey, don't you realize that this is a very strong level? You're going all the way back down. And we drew in this particular arrow yesterday to exhibit where we thought the market could potentially be going. Because of this strong selling action, we expected it to get stopped out and go relatively consolidatory in this particular area. And that's what we've seen. Now we know one thing, and this is important to understand. If the dollar starts to spike, if the DXY goes up, this will place a lot of pressure on the euro. It will come down. And if we see junk bonds starting to fail, yields starting to spike up, we would anticipate that this particular smart money sell level will become entrenched and will go back to around the 22,300 mark, or even potentially lower to around the 22,000. Please keep these things in mind. We may get a bit of a short-term sell or a short-term retracement in the major indices, but they are likely to rally before the FOMC meeting. We've seen this about 4 to 5 times just recently. It doesn't mean it's always going to hold, but it certainly has held for quite a while. A lot of people say, just trade the chart in front of you. It sounds like really good advice, and to retail traders and investors, that's actually what they do. But you can see that there are 100 charts influencing the chart in front of you. Professionals are aware of these things, and it can take many, many decades in market to gain this expertise and experience, or even just the mindset that you need to look at other things. A lot of people don't hold Bitcoin, so therefore they don't care about it. They say it's too expensive. I can't put $100 into Bitcoin. I just won't get a return. We've seen recently that Bitcoin was amongst the best gainers across the top 16 alts. Typically, Bitcoin is like watching grass grow, but not always. Please let me know in the comments. If you had $1,000 in Bitcoin and $1,000 in, for example, Dogecoin, and they both went up 10%, which one do you make more money on? And you know, Doge is very, very cheap in terms of price. You get a lot of bang for your buck. And Bitcoin is very, very expensive. You get very little Bitcoin for that $1,000. But which one did you make more money on? Bitcoin or Doge? If they both went up 10%, please let me know in the comments. Another thing that can help us when we come to stacking probabilities, and that's what we're all about as a community, we can see the longs and the short, the Bitcoin longs and the Bitcoin shorts. We also saw that this really big spike up in Bitcoin's price was a result of shorts getting liquidated. That's what happens when we have too many longs piling in relative to the shorts. The shorts have to cover their positions, increasingly so, and then that absolutely drives price up. We've seen that the longs continue to pile into the market. The shorts have got a little bit hammered there. So what are the liquidations looking like? Over the past 24 hours, there's been about $89.02 million worth of total liquidations across 33,140 trading positions. And when we look at the total liquidations across the past 24 hours, we can see about 58% long. What about the past 12 hours? About 57% long. What about the past 4 hours? Ooh, gone the other way. 54% short. What about the past hour? 51% long. And turning to daily liquidations, we can see Bitcoin's price here is this yellow gold line. And it's also starting to lose support. This is quite important to understand. We can see that the SPX, SPY, they're coming into resistance. We can see Microsoft coming into resistance. We know that Bitcoin is at resistance at the moment. You'd be surprised how things play out across all of the exchanges. To get a bit of a down wave here and some consolidation wouldn't be a bad thing. So just keep your eye on this understanding. This is another way that you can stack your probabilities. I wanted to take everybody through Glassnode Studio, but unfortunately Glassnode is kind of dead at the moment. It's just full of errors and it's just actually not loading. So unfortunately, until Glassnode gets their act together, I can't take you through this. I'm really sorry, because I know people have been asking for it, so now you know why there's been a delay. The top 8 has remained unchanged. We've got 3 stable coins, Tether, Circle and Binance USD. And Binance USD has declined some 30% in market capitalization. Masterclass students, check out TM14 and TM15 to gain some insight into what is happening there. Over about the past week, Bitcoin is up 10%. Relative to that, we know that Bitcoin's gravity impacts our beloved alts, and Ethereum is only up about 3.7% over the same period of time. BNB is up 5.6%, and you can see how BNB is following Bitcoin's gravity, that blue line in the background. XRP is up nearly 5%, and you can see Bitcoin's gravity makes a huge amount of difference to the actual relative performance of the alts. And good old ADA, well done Charles, is up nearly 13%, but you can see how much it sold down when Bitcoin's gravity went negative, and then it went positive again, and it slingshot ADA right back up. This is why you must look at Bitcoin before you look at your beloved alts. Just keep in mind, Bitcoin is up around 11% over the past week, and let's look at the next top 8. We've had some movement in these next top 8. In fact, this is what they look like now. Matic has taken over Sol's position. SHIB and Litecoin have swapped positions with each other, and Tron has been kicked out, and AVAX has re-entered. This is what they look like now. Remembering that Bitcoin is up around 11%, Doge is up 6.3%. Matic has just rocked and rolled. That's why it piffed Sol out of its position. It's really going for it. It's literally up 17.6% right now. Solana is up a little over 15%. DOT a little over 11%. SHIB is down 6.21%. And Litecoin is up nearly 5%. DAI is a stable coin, and AVAX up nearly 13%. Looking at the greatest gainers, within the past 24 hours, DYDX right out there in front, followed by Phantom, eCash, Matic, Cello, Threshold, Compound, and Steppen. The greatest losers in the past 24 hours, LDO, Optimism, IMX, Quant, Mina, Atom, Synthetics, and Osmosis. We are a community of professional traders and investors, and all professionals maintain mastery over their emotional control. This is really important to do. If you don't, you'll get fear in control of your decision making. Therefore, having inner and outer peace is very, very important. Having a positive attitude is also equally as important. We reinforce a positive attitude through gratitude and kindness. If we're unkind or ungrateful, it's hard to be positive because you're looking at what's missing in life, not what you have. Professionals know that it takes persistence and commitment, determination and confidence to actually get where you want to go. It can take a long period of time, but that's okay. You're going to be spending the time anyway. Positive excellence is focused on learning and humility. All of these to-be list items actually make you a far, far better trader and investor. A lot of people think it's all about key levels, and it is to a degree, but once you've mastered the understanding of key levels, you have to actually pull the trigger on your entries and your exits. That's where positive excellence comes in. This is a hardcore trading activity. It may not seem like it, but it is. It's really, really important. Those green boxes, positive excellence, are nothing more than a collection of habits. All habits feel unnatural at the start. It takes time and repetition to make them automatic. But always remember, every positive habit makes you. It will make you financially, emotionally, and in many other ways. The great problem in life is that we don't know what our habits are because they're automatic. You will have positive habits and you will have negative habits. Hey, we're all human. That's just the human condition. The CTKS Creed is about positive affirmations for abundance, financial success, and happiness. But I want to inverse this today. I want to show you what a negative affirmation statement would look like, the inverse CTKS Creed. Let's start. The positive affirmation, I know the universe wants me to succeed. If a person has a negative affirmation, they would say, I know everything and everybody is against me. I have no chance for success. This is why we do this positive affirmation to wipe that one out. That's installed by default. The line, every day I show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. The inverse of that. The inverse CTKS Creed would be, every day I show anger and aggression. I take whatever I can get my hands on. I am sarcastic and selfish. And most importantly, entitled to anything and everything, especially the things that I don't work for. You can see that's very, very opposite to every day I show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. The CTKS Creed, I know opportunities on life reset daily. The inverse of that, there are no opportunities for me. I'm down and out and things will never ever change. The CTKS Creed, I am worthy, I go slow to go fast. The inverse of that, I am unworthy, I go as fast as possible, putting in little to no effort and expecting 100% for everything that I do. And I know I just won't get it. Everything is just too hard. You can see what a difference the CTKS Creed actually makes. What about this? I start small and scale. The inverse of that, I start big and fail. The CTKS Creed, life pullbacks give me strength for the next life rally. What is the inverse of that? Life pullbacks are just God or the universe or anything, Allah, Buddha, just paying out on me. I just give up. The whole world is against me. Everybody's against me. I can't possibly succeed. I'm just going down and down and down until I hit rock bottom, and then I'll go down further. I just give up. The next line in the CTKS Creed, I am dedicated and committed. What is the inverse of that? The opposite is, I couldn't care less. I don't try at anything. I do my best to put no effort into everything I do. I'm fundamentally lazy. But I expect that I'll get all the best things that life has to offer, but I won't work for them because I'm entitled to them. You can see how disempowering those inverse CTKS Creeds are. What about I win or learn and never blame? What is the opposite of that? Let's take I win or learn. A negative affirmation is I win because you lose. Learning has nothing to do with it. It's all about strength, power, and putting somebody under the thumb with force. What about the or learn? With a negative affirmation statement, there's nothing about learning. It's simply the other person won, I lost. They took my prize. They deliberately took my success. They put me in the gutter effectively. They won, I lost. It's just a game, and I lost. This particular statement, I win or learn and never blame. How does the negative affirmation incorporate blame? Well, if a person loses, it's because the other person took their success, and they're going to get very, very angry, and they're going to go first to the default position of blame. I blame that person for winning because they made me lose. You can actually see this in films. You can see it all the time. People can get violent. I'm talking about films, and they say, "Look what you made me do. You made me beat you up." Well, I don't think the other person asked for it. Blame is perhaps the most destructive emotion on the planet. It absolutely disempowers people. It puts another person in control of them. That's why we have the last line of the CTKS Creed. I never let a problem beat me because I solve it with positive excellence. There are so many negative affirmations on this particular one, but I'll give you just probably the most likely. Anytime I get a problem, I know it's permanent. I just can't solve it. I'm just not smart enough. I'm just not clever enough. I'm not flexible enough. Whatever it is, the problem beats me. And the second part, in the CTKS Creed, we say, because I solve it with positive excellence. In a negative affirmation, people solve it with negative excellence. Negative excellence, blame, violence, sarcasm, personal attacks, dishonesty, or just plain giving up. I very infrequently talk about the inverse to the CTKS Creed, but as a professional trader or investor, if you think the world is against you, you will think by definition every trade will be against you. That is very disempowering, and it's very costly financially to think that way. When you make a wrong trade, and I put that in inverted air quotes because there are no wrong trades, they're just learning experiences. If you don't show kindness, integrity, and gratitude for yourself, you just simply won't learn. When you actually exhibit this to other people, for example, kindness, integrity, gratitude, all of those things, you're actually setting yourself up for massive success in life. This particular creed is all about trading, but it spills into real life. From time to time, people think that this is a very esoteric, very touchy-feely thing. And people say, "Oh, Ken, I just want to know the levels. I don't want to do this emotional rubbish. Oh, what's this emotional stuff?" It's like, oh, that's all mumbo jumbo. Being in the market for more than 30 years, if you don't do this, you can never become truly profitable. Your profitability actually resides here first, and the levels second. Well, at least they're equally weighted. But from my perspective, I believe this comes first. I hope this helps you because it's a really good thing to look at. We don't question our habits. We don't question our beliefs. We just get swept up by them. And then when people don't respond in a specific way, we don't understand why. It's because of how we're doing our positive affirmations or our negative affirmations. We know that better habits create a better life, and all results come from the mind, and a better mind creates better outcomes. We as a community, as a global family, are all about creating better outcomes, not just for ourselves, but other people, like what Jason and Beardy and so many others, Art, Crypto Turtle, Badger, Tales from the Man Cave, Brett, Rudy, Martin, Edwin, Kerry, Oscar, CJ, Nenad, Art, Al, Bruno, Link Jumpy, Kirk, Flamingo, Brian, Rachel, Jason, Peter, Chris, Luke, and so many other people. They're just phenomenal people. You should get to know them all. Our global family is a really, really special group of people. And you're very, very welcome here. If you have friends or family who could benefit from positive excellence and what we do each and every day here, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please introduce them by sharing a video. This video is a pretty good one to share as well. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. And thank you to everybody who comments and watches. It's just a pure privilege to be here sharing this time with you. Have a great time ahead, and I look forward to seeing and catching up with you tomorrow. All the best, my friends. Bye for now.